Hey, everybody. Oh my gosh, it looks like we've got people already rolling in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for being at today's Sales Hacker live webinar. We are so excited to be having this conversation and for you guys to be spending the next hour with us. So first of all, guys, I'm a new face to probably every single one of you. It's great to meet you, albeit virtually. My name is Tess. I've just joined the Sales Hacker team. I cannot be more excited to be here. I've joined the team as a senior programs manager, really focusing on community engagement. So this is the first you guys are seeing of me, but certainly not the last. You'll be seeing me quite a lot, and I'm quite excited to get to know all of you a little bit better as I continue on in my journey here at Sales Hacker. So as you guys join us, just a little bit of housekeeping. First things first, go to the chat box. On the bottom right-hand corner, you will see a little blue button that says hosts and panelists. Toggle that so that it says everybody. That way, you're not just welcoming me, Mary, and Donald, you're welcoming everybody in the chat. And we've got so many of you guys here. We want you guys to all connect. So make sure you do that. When you're in the chat, make sure you say your name, your role, where you're tuning in from. Last week, we were doing what your favorite sandwich is. Today, the question is, what exactly is a sandwich? Is it meat and two pieces of bread? Because if so, then a hot dog or a taco is a sandwich. And we really need to figure this out. So we want to keep today's event super interactive. Again, make sure you're switching your toggle from hosts and panelists to everybody. And of course, if you guys have questions throughout today's event, we will be taking live Q&A throughout the entire duration of today's webinar. And we're actually going to do a live audit of one of your LinkedIn profiles. So make sure you use that Q&A function to ask any questions to the panelists. That way they don't get lost in the chat. That can sometimes happen when you have a lot of audience members and a lot of engagement. So I want to talk to you guys about today's event and what you guys are going to be learning. So first of all, LinkedIn by far is the #1 social media platform for B2B sales pros, but it's totally underutilized. Many sellers log on, scroll through, send connection requests, and even pitch prospects with direct messages and InMail, but I got to debunk a myth. It doesn't actually help you land a meeting. So in today's session, Donald and Mary are going to show us simple strategies that any seller can use today, and you're going to see results immediately. So here are the top 4 things that you guys are going to learn in today's webinar. 1, what the most successful B2B sellers are doing to get meetings. 2, how to get your prospects to respond to you. 3, tactical LinkedIn concepts so that you can use this with any LinkedIn plan. And 4, how to maximize Sales Navigator. So before I actually hand it over to Mary and Donald to get started, I want to ask the chat, tell us, what was your first job in sales? What was that first thing you put on your LinkedIn profile back in 2012? We want to know. I'm dating myself. That was for me. But tell us in the chat the first thing you guys put on your LinkedIn. What was that first job? And don't tell me camp counselor. I want to know that first sales job that got you started. Oh, yes. Bringing it in. Selling shoes. I love this. Journeys. Oh, that got me really nostalgic for malls right now. Oh my gosh, I love that. Enterprise Rent-A-Car, love that. Sales rep for Quaker Oats. I got to talk to you, man. I need some more free oats. Inside sales and healthcare. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys are popping in the chat right now. This is amazing. Right before we get started, I actually want to deploy a poll because this is also going to really help inform Mary and Donald in exactly what they show you guys today. So I'm going to launch this poll right now. The question here is, how would you rank your use of LinkedIn? What percentage of your time is spent on LinkedIn for prospecting, for research, for stalking colleagues, ex-colleagues, new colleagues, people you may hire? Let us know, pop it in this poll. We're gonna probably close this poll up in just a minute or two. We've got just about 60% participation. Come on, guys, 30 more seconds. Let's get this participation up. Oh, guys, we're almost at 70%. Come on, I wanna see it. Okay, we're hitting 70%, 71. I love this. I feel like I am one of those people at an auction house going once, going twice. All right, I'm going to end the poll because it's boring for all those that have already answered to just wait around for a poll to be done. So I'm going to share these results so you guys can see it. Full transparency here. We're seeing, majority of us really spending between 10 to 25% of our time on LinkedIn. A little bit smaller of a majority here, spending maybe between 50 to 75%, and certainly very few people spending 100% of their time on LinkedIn. So this is a really interesting kind of group of people. We have a totally diverse group here, people who are LinkedIn experts, people who are LinkedIn novices. So Mary and Donald, you guys have your jobs cut out for you to speak to all these different folks today. I'm going to officially hand it over to our amazing speakers today. Mary, take it away. Please tell the audience where you're from, what your background is, and then after we'll hand it over to Donald.
Yeah, hey everybody. So excited to be here. Mary Foster, VP of Demand Gen at Ambition. We are a revenue performance platform. We power gamification and coaching for sales teams. I've been in B2B SaaS for about 10 years. Previously came from the email marketing world. So long time in the world. Glad to be participating today.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I'm stoked to be the partner with Mary on this one. I'm Donald Kelly. I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida, and I saw Mackenzie is also from West Palm Beach, Florida. Somebody else popped that in there. So South Florida life, holding it down here. And I run an organization called the Sales Evangelist, and this is our podcast studio. And I have a popular sales podcast called The Sales Evangelist. So you can go ahead and check that out as well. And my organization work with sales teams. We help BDRs, SDRs, and new sellers and full cycle sellers be able to learn all the fundamentals they need to be able to thrive and really succeed in sales, and coaching program for veterans. So it's fun.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Mary and Donald. I'm going to kick it over to you guys to sort of get us started today, and really talk us through some of your tips and tricks for making LinkedIn work for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Tess. So excited to be here, y'all. A couple things we went over, what you're going to learn, what the most successful B2B sellers are doing to get meetings. So plot twist, I'm not actually out there selling on LinkedIn, but I work with a group of BDRs who are, and I'm surrounded by them to share their strategy today and kind of talk about what we do at Ambition on the sales dev team here. So our top social seller, her name is Caitlin Lang. She actually hit quota on the 10th of this month. No lie, hit quota. And guess where she did it all? LinkedIn. So before I share a little bit of like what her secret sauce is and what she's working on this month, Donald, what do you think are some of the most successful B2B sellers doing to get meetings?
Ooh, so I can tell you what they're not doing, and I'm grateful for Tess bringing this up, volleying in it. But if you go on YouTube and search like LinkedIn strategies, they're going to give you all these folks are telling you go out and send a bunch of spam messages and inbox a bunch of people and tell them you want to get an appointment. But that's not that's one of the things you should not do. And so if you're coming here to figure out what's the greatest message to send to spam 1,000 people, wrong webinar. Exit to the far right. We're going to give you ideas of how you can be human. And one of the biggest things that I see is just that, being a human being. And I know it's overrated, but we're going to give you a specific example and ideas of what we're seeing that sellers are taking advantage of on my BDR team. And I have a BDR on my team as well. And I'll tell you about him in a second, but a couple of them that they kill it on LinkedIn. They do a fantastic job of engaging with people and actually having conversations, getting people to want to have conversations in the inbox and leading to appointments. But I would say the biggest thing, one of the biggest mistakes people are not doing, and this is a spoiler alert, is posting content. And I'll give you some ideas about that in a second.
Yeah, I'm going to actually screen share and show y'all one of Caitlin's messages. It's probably going to come a little bit surprising because it's exactly what Donald's saying of be human. And we think that we're all doing that, but for some reason, when we get on LinkedIn, we decide to be the corporate. We think we are a corporate human, and that does not work. I don't respond to anyone saying, I hope you are safe in these times. I'm like, me too. I'm just trying to go back to precedented times. Let me show you what Caitlin opened this message with. She gave me permission to share. Okay. Hope y'all can see my screen over here on the right. It's a little janky. Okay. She just opened up and said, okay, I love your picture. Haha, love the outdoors. That's it. The person had a banner of the outdoors, got them to respond. Oh, thanks. I was doing a hike. She says, okay, have you done anything in Colorado? Yes. Starts talking about hiking. There is nothing about being a revenue performance platform, nothing about powering a solution. It is truly just a human connection based on location. And there's actually something called the FOG behavior model. It's made up of 3 components of there needs to be a trigger, there needs to be ability, and there needs to be motivation to get people to take action. And a lot of times in Caitlin's examples, I'll share a few more, the trigger is almost always location. People love talking about where they live. We just did it in the chat. Donald said in West Palm Beach out there. He wants to talk to South Florida. People love to connect about location. And so that was one thing. And I'm curious your take. It's unconventional maybe, Donald, but would love to get your take on that.
Yeah. And I think one of the cool parts with that too is like, go back to that idea of the picture, you know, that you mentioned, like the hike and so forth. Like, you know, the whole idea is, you know, we want to rep our hometown. But the other cool part about this too, like the whole idea of location, LinkedIn kind of tells you where those people are from. So, I mean, even if it's something like, you know, even if you don't necessarily know the location, I mean, you could think of something creative. Might say, for instance, hey, Donald, you know, never been to Chicago. Is it really windy there? You know, something like that. You know, like you're being a human being and you're having fun with it and just having a conversation. I think it's great. And it allows for, because you got to think of, I've learned, and we talked about this in a lot of our stuff, our content, is that in order to be successful, do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. I want somebody to respond to my LinkedIn connection requests. And if you look at those connection requests, and we could show you some that I have, and I think I have a bunch of connection requests right now too. But if you look at a connection request that people send, oftentimes they're just kind of like the plain ones without any titles. But what I tend to do is I look at them and I see if somebody sends a message. So now everyone's sending me a message. Can I just share my screen real quick? So what I tend to do is like right away, if somebody sends me a LinkedIn connection request, like here, Christopher, boom, right out the gate, I'm like, cool. Like, who is this guy? What is he saying? And because I have kind of a few of them, 149 right now, my team helps me out, respond to some of these and to accept them. But generally right away, my team member will say, hey, Donald, you know, you got some folks here you need to connect back with, because they sent a personal message to me. But generally, I will accept those right away. So think about somebody else that may have, like, you know, if they have 40 connection requests, who are they more than likely to accept and respond to? And it's probably going to be the person that talked about the hike or the location-based idea for them. And all we're trying to help you here is to be able to make sure you're improving like 1 or 2% better. If we can do that, we know you're going to be way further ahead than most people. But anyways, that's one thing. So you can send a general message or, you know, like the connection request. But if you really want to stand out to a prospect, send something that they're going to respond to, like Christopher did here. So I'll respond to him and I can talk to about some of the things that I do with him. What I'll do people like that. So anyways.
Yeah, I loved the example you just shared, because something I noticed was that it wasn't about him, Christopher. No. It was about you, Donald. Mm-hmm. People want to, I think people just panic almost on LinkedIn of like, yes, I work for a behavioral healthcare company and I would love to connect because I do this, that, or the other, instead of just a personal connection. The last thing I actually purchased from a BDR that reached out on LinkedIn. The opener just said, Mary, what good honky tonks are in Nashville? If you're not from Nashville, you may have been to a honky tonk. But again, it was a location thing where I was like, absolutely have an opinion, would love to weigh in. It worked immediately. Just a personal thing about me instead of about themselves.
And I promise what happened after that, Mary, did you not click on that person's profile sometime later on?
Oh, 100%.
And you go for it.
And then I started to get a little email action, which I opened the email, didn't respond yet, was like, I need to respond because I like this. It took a couple emails. It took a lot of Nashville bonding. And now we text when I haven't signed a renewal. So Someone in the chat asked what I bought. It was a content syndication program.
There you go.
Matt McNichol at Pure B2B.
And they're asking about what the honky tonk is. What is the best honky tonk?
Now, I'm a Roberts girl myself. So if y'all come down to Broadway, Roberts is where you want to go.
All right. So I think I have to come and camp out with you in Nashville there.
Do it. Let's do it. Before we move on to the next, I know we're but I would love to hear the main tricks that I have from Caitlin, and I could share several examples where like location. I don't know if there are stats out there, y'all, about mentioning where someone's located. Like Donald said, you can actually see. I'll share one or two quick more just so y'all can see kind of what it's done in different ways. This one here opened up with Frisco, Texas. Are you a Cowboys fan? And this one's a little bit longer. So Caitlin does a great job of A/B testing different length messages, short, long, whatever. But one thing that she has called out is every time location gets people to respond. Here's another one. Miami in the background, question mark. I was just down there for CrossFit. And so I don't know if anyone has any stats on that or anything they try, but that is one thing that for sure has worked for Caitlin to get more meetings is just open it up, asking about where they are from.
Yeah. I don't have any data on that one, but it is definitely, it makes total sense. And it beats the idea of using like the university. I see you went to Gonzaga. I see you went to, University of Miami. I see you went to Pittsburgh. Like it's like, yeah, it's already a given there. But location, definitely an easy one. And one that I like to use is looking at looking at people's like recent roles, recency in a role. And we could talk about that with like a Sales Navigator or whatnot. But you can see when somebody just recently came with a company, or just looking at the LinkedIn profile, if they're on your account list and seeing how long they've been in a role, you can say something directly towards that, like congratulatory, but not like one of the lame ones. But, hey, seems like, oh, congratulations in the air, or congrats on the new promotion. Like, or like, what is it like working at Google? Like, something that's going to make him say, oh, I'm proud of this. It's awesome. Or how did you break into Google? How did you land a job at, XYZ? Like given them, you're showing off their expertise. They clearly did something to achieve this type of result. So it's another level of a personalization that you can do that gives them a feel that I'm going to accept the connection request. Because again, I decline some of my connection requests if they're just like, if they look like spam, like, I'll decline them. So please, you guys are all cool. So please send me a connection request. I'll be your friends. But some of them I decline because it's just like, I know they're going to try to spam me or whatnot. So, be mindful of that. And when you're sending out these personalized requests to folks.
Yes. And I did get someone in the chat, I think it was Sean, said, okay, but can you show how it led to an appointment? I appreciate the banner. Yes,
there you go.
Prove it. Okay, Sean, hold on. I'm just editing out this person's name real quick because I'm not trying to out anybody who didn't give permission. Caitlin did give me permission, but let me show you really quickly because it did work. Okay, two more quick little blockers here.
Well, Sean is probably from Missouri. He's like, the show me state. It's like, tell me how that happened. Give me how that made sense. And while Mary's doing that, one of the things you probably realized too, oh no, LA. Yeah, that's pretty, folks in LA want to know the straight up too, they're direct. But one of the things too with that, and I know you're probably going to go there, it's like, I feel that when sellers reach out on LinkedIn, they feel that if I'm connecting with somebody, one, we kind of debunked this already. I need to tell them everything about my company. No, your profile will tell them about your company, and we'll give you some ideas on that. But two, the other thing that you want to make sure you're aware of too is like when you just want to get interaction. I want someone to respond to me, so it's more conversational. So I'm not going to do my first message about like trying to get the appointment, but do a couple steps in that. And then what I usually do is I don't necessarily all the time pitch on LinkedIn. I then pitch, or so to speak, through the email format. So I'll send a connection request, get you connected with me. We're talking about LA or whatnot. Then I might use that in my LinkedIn, in my email to you, in my sequence. Kick it off by saying, hey, Don, subject line, hey, we connected about your honky tonk friend or whatever. And then now in that email, say, you know, hey, Mary, want to connect. Thanks for much for connecting on LinkedIn, and totally agree with you about XYZ with the honky tonk. You know, the reason why one of the reasons thoughts I want to reach out was because of this, whatever your value prop is. And then you use that means it's a higher likelihood of Mary responding to that. And then my follow-up emails are going to be on that same thread. So I'm using LinkedIn to be able to do that, to help my emails increase and to get response with that. But then also Mary's going to share with you a strategy. You can get it directly on LinkedIn for that. So go ahead, Mary, my bad.
Yeah. I have a couple of just exactly what you said happening here and then happening in another channel. So I hope I blurred this. Y'all respect these people's privacy. Okay. So she said, Frisco, Texas. Are you a Cowboys fan? This person who's within our buyer persona said, thank you for reaching out. I am a Cowboys fan. So disappointed again about their performance. LOL. Caitlin's asking her to meet next week, telling her that at the same time they're talking meeting, she's also like, people hate me for being a Cowboys fan because I'm from Atlanta. And over here, you can see, I know this is hard with these screenshots, but just for Sean, over here in the far right, she says, that should work. Send me an invite at her email address and they'll adjust for spring break because she's going to be on spring break for her kids. She's I think a VP of enablement at a software company that we sell into. So I promise I'm not lying, Sean. It worked. And it all started with Frisco, Texas and the Cowboys.
Yeah. What I like in there too is it didn't end. You mentioned like she kept weaving it throughout the conversation. So even when she did ask for the appointment, she kept, talking about, people hate me because I'm in ATL and we, Cowboys fans and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I love that. So hopefully that give you some help there.
And one more, just because Donald brought it up too, of like, this one ended up, it's sort of an objection handling because those happen in LinkedIn as well, where Caitlin reaches out. She keeps saying, could I buy you a coffee, which we'll talk about gifting here too, but can I buy you a coffee? Can I steal some time? I want to get your opinion. He says, no. She's like, all right, well, a quick question. Do you oversee any of the sales enablement tools? And this person's like, all right, yes, I do, which is just a great example of asking questions about that person. And she says, okay, I know you're actually all good. We actually put all your sales tools into one pane of glass. I know you said you're good to go, but I'm just looking for some feedback. Will you give me some feedback? He's a tough sell. He says, send me some emails. I'll review it. Maybe. Caitlin sends the email and along with a piece of content like Donald referenced earlier. And he said, I'm happy to meet Monday afternoon. And it all started with a no there.
Love that. Perfect example. It's not giving up from, right away. You keep going with it. So, first step there is to share that type of content and, to engage with people and send them those personal requests. And then that leads to this natural discussion, whether it goes towards email. There's one other thing that I like to do too, Mary, and I will, my phone is like almost dead, so it's probably not going to be cool to share it. But on the app, if you don't have the mobile app for LinkedIn, I encourage you to get the mobile app. But one of the things that I typically will do is quickly send them a video so they can see that I'm a human and doing something that is not related. I mean, I have one and it's kind of like horrible, like lighting. So, but sending something that's not like, not like you just sitting down in your corporate situation. Like even if you're walking out to the car, or if in our building, we take, sometimes I do it at the end of the day, like I'm going in the elevator. So I might send a couple of these messages from the elevator, be like, hey, hey, it's Donald. I just want to let you know that I'm not a human. I'm not a robot. I'm actually a human being, and really love this, blah, 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 blah. Start engaging. And I've had people tell me like, I've never had anyone send this before, or I never had that video feature before, but it's in there. And then also the same idea with the voice message as well, making it entertaining and just changing it up. But when I send voicemail, tell them what the voicemail is actually about, a voice message in LinkedIn. So go ahead, you might put something to the nature of, I wanted to introduce myself, hear me singing my honky tonk or whatever, like, and then now they're going to say, like, I definitely need to listen to this and see what it is. But it's engagement. It is everything that we share with you is just a human aspect of the engagement. How these leads to appointment is just that, because if you can do this with someone, it naturally allows them to say, hey, so, it might lead for them to say it, or you even just say it like we saw in this example, just asking them about their role, if they oversee this particular thing, or a quick question at that point. Mary, may I ask you a quick question about your sales enablement team? Of course. What's up? Blah, 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 blah. If I was to show you this, would you be open to that? And then depending on your product too, doing a quick little video on LinkedIn, a screen share, and then uploading that into the message. Might say, Mary, hey, I saw this idea. I thought you guys could benefit from that. Now that you said you're over sales enablement, I wanted to show you this quick little thing. And that could be like your 2-minute demo. May not be a full demo, of course, but a quick little demo, and then drop that into LinkedIn, and then you could see that. And then say, if you're open to it, I can show you a little bit more next week at XYZ time. Are you open to that idea? But you're, again, engaging, sharing some value, and then using that as an opportunity. But Mary's more likely to respond with a yes, because of the simple fact that she knows she's dealing with a human and not somebody spamming on the first thing to meet with our company.
One thing that works for me too, to get me to say yes, maybe I'm a softie, but man, when people tell me they're coming up on their quota, or they're one away from a record, or don't be afraid to like share that vulnerability about yourself too. People in the sales space understand that is real. And I think just being honest of like, I'd love to spend time to get a meeting. Like, I'm actually up against my quota, which I would appreciate if, I really actually do think this could be valuable for you. People like to help other people out sometimes, I think there are mixed opinions about that sometimes out there too, which, speaking of mixed opinions, I'm a question around, what do y'all think about gifting to get a meeting? So I'm just going to ask that. Drop it in the chat. I'm going to ask Donald before I share my take. What do y'all think about gifting? A lot of you, if you run an account-based model, that usually is a part of it.
So seeing some people said it hasn't worked. Personally, I'm a big fan. It's good if small. Coffee. So can I give you one of the things that we did? This was back in the days. This was like 2017. We ran this campaign. This was a physical campaign that we did. But the client that we were working with, they're like, we need to do some more outbound business development. So they hired us and we said, all right, here's the strategy that we're going to do. We're going to run this play. We're going to send something physically in the mail to folks. And they wanted to get a demo. So we printed off this huge, like oversized ticket, like for a movie ticket for a theater. And we put it in like, demo or something, a request for demo or something. And we put it in a box. This cost about $12. We called into their secretary. So this was a little bit more in depth with the principal. I just want to share with you. We called into their secretary and we asked, because these were executive, like, we're trying to get a meeting with Mary. What's the best, do you know if she likes Swedish fish or she likes this stuff, whatever. Do you know if she's a Starbucks person or if she's Dunkin' Donuts? And then they would say, she's Starbucks. And we say, what about you? Are you a Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks person? And then we said, all right, I'm sending something to her in a mail, and I'm going to include something specifically for you as well. So now that receptionist, that executive assistant is like on board. So one, gatekeeper down. Two is then now they got the package in the mail, and it was like all these things for like movies. So Swedish fish, we gave them a Starbucks gift card. We gave them a thing of popcorn, and we said, we just want to love to have a 30-minute demo with you to have something about the movie. They were able to see a 300% increase, 300% return on their their investment in that campaign. And they have clients now to this day. It was like, if you got how many hundreds of thousands of dollars they've generated over the years, probably about $1 million now from those. It was just a small campaign that we tried and it tested and worked. But here's when it comes towards gifting. One of the strategies that we've learned is that we like to reward people for doing certain actions. So now fast forward, we're using tools such as like, different tools that are out there, like, Apollo, or if it's like, Sales Loft or whatnot. When you're sending things out, I like to reward people at different stages. So I might send out my LinkedIn connection request, and you may accept it, or I haven't heard from you yet. I dropped the email, haven't heard from you yet with that, but I see that you're watching stuff. One of my emails, my second email or third email, will maybe a video. So I'll drop that video, and I'll see if you interact with it. So if you accept my connection request, you actually watched our video to a certain percentage, then our team will say, all right, Donald, go ahead, let's send him a gift in the mail. And the gift might be something like, a $10 Starbucks gift card. Like, hey, Mary, I'd love to have jump on a call with you for 7. And we use this strategy. It works. We say 7 to 10 minutes because it's just an initial call. And, we'll, have some Starbucks. We'd love to have a coffee break. I will even send you a Starbucks gift card so you don't have to spend any money. And we literally send them the gift card because we know they've been interacting with our stuff. So then therefore they're rewarded, and we get them to have that conversation. We tell them 7 to 10 minutes. So at 10-minute mark, we are just shutting up. We're letting them know, like, if my team can't explain what we do in 7 to 10 minutes, we're not worthy of having a full conversation. But usually by that 10-minute mark, they're like, okay, yeah, keep going. But you use that odd prime number, 7 to prime number, right? But that oddness of like 7 to 10 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes at times, people are like, all right, I can do that. That 7 sticks out. And we tend to get those quick conversations to allow us to share our value prop and how we feel we can help them, which then leads further. So that coffee break helps. So again, and we also learned, one of them, somebody puts, depending on industry, we had a client with the government space, and we learned the hard way. You can't send anything to a government client, not at all. So you got to keep that in mind. But anyway, so that's my experience with gifting. We love it. And we've even done, in the pandemic, we did like lunches, because we're like, we got save some marketing money. Can we do lunches? So we did those lunch and learns. But again, it was based on people who were certain levels, based on the reward. And I think that's where some people mix up. They tend to say, I'm going to send a gift out to everyone. But if you're using LinkedIn to try to get those appointments, don't just send it out to everybody. You want to send it out to people who are interacting, engaging with you, or probably replying or whatnot.
Yes.
I went on for a while there.
I love it. I'm also passionate about it because we are seeing the same thing. It works. So a less sophisticated strategy than what Donald described. If you're just getting started, we use there's a lot of different tools out there. It's up to everybody. We use a tool called Postal.
Postal. That's what we use.
Yeah. So
Postal fan.
Postal fans. You can use magic links, is what they call it, of sort of just like a link. And it's not just throwing it at someone and being like, out of like, desperation or like the thirsty summer. It's like, no, after a certain thing, after you've built a connection. So the way Caitlin does it a lot, and the way Caleb does it a lot, is like, if someone won't respond, or if they've opened it a million times, but they're not engaging back, they might be like, I really am just looking for feedback. I will buy you a coffee, would love your opinion, instead of just opening of like, hello, here's a $10 gift card if you agree to meet with me. Which is so, nobody is that hard up for a cup of Starbucks, I don't think.
No.
So it's all about being at the right time. It's all about making it personal. And so just like anything else, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but it just shows. Someone put it in the chat and it says, I like doing the coffee because it shows I value their time, which is very true. And you can also A/B test, if you're doing it via email, some subject lines of like, should we get lunch together? ? People are all like, I don't know you, but I bet you'll get open. And then you can make the offer of like, here's an Uber Eats gift card. We can talk about this. It's been a very small investment, and we've seen a lot of ROI. And the way we deploy it, for anyone, sales development leaders or whoever on the call, you can set a budget at the individual rep level. And so it's a use it or lose it for us of like, hey, every month you get X number of dollars. Here's what you can send in different plays. You can't send it to everybody. It's very like, has to be a certain persona, et cetera. And then someone else called this out too, like the more high-end clients, there are some different plays, more personalized, more tailored, like Donald mentioned. And then also in the enterprise, someone else said this, so I'm just calling it because the chat is going off. But yes, in the enterprise, a lot of times they can't accept gifts either, but you can donate to causes. And so trying to figure out a play ahead of time, like, are they serving on the board at a certain organization? Do they volunteer their time? A lot of people put that into their LinkedIn. And so you can say like, hey, I donated $10 or whatever it is to this cause that I know you care about, or I'd love to donate to this cause, et cetera. So I think gifting is super smart, and it's not just for email. It is working great in LinkedIn for us.
I love it. Can I share this idea too with, it's a low hanging fruit for folks, Mary. It's one of the stats that LinkedIn shares. And for folks who are trying to get appointment, let's go ahead and post. I think we had a poll question. I'm not sure if we do this. How many people actually post on LinkedIn? Maybe we didn't, but if you post on LinkedIn, say at least, I'm not talking about resharing stuff, but you create a post, a unique post on LinkedIn once a month, go ahead and just say yes in the chat. If you don't be shy. You could just say no. We're going to give you some ideas. So we got a lot of LinkedIn users here. Got some no's, yes, some yes. So you all are at 2%. So here's what happened with LinkedIn. The stat, and I gave the number away. Somebody said I fell off the wagon. LinkedIn said, I was part of one of their cohorts group, and it says that they said that last year they just hit the 2% mark, where 2% of those active users are posting stuff regularly. And I think it was like a monthly that's being regularly. Like, that's crazy. Think about all the impression. I think it's like 15 billion impressions per week on LinkedIn. So all the yesers who are posting are taking advantage of that. So one of the things that I want to show you real quick is another way to get some appointments. I'm going to share an idea here with you real quick. You'll see my LinkedIn in real action. Look at all of you connecting with me, being my friend. So one of the things that I would tell you is, first off, and most of you have some stuff, but we created a little banner for our team helping new and struggling sellers close more deals. So that's where our sweet spot. So people can tell me see right away what I do. I just feel LinkedIn gave me this as an advertisement, and also because of our sponsors. And big shout out to LinkedIn. They do sponsor my podcast. But because of that, so we use that as that banner right away. So then the next piece that I will say, like when somebody, when you do your post or post piece of content, I'll show you this example. So I just finished my book, and it went live. So I did a post the other day, 2 days ago, and I was talking about my book. And this was my place in Jamaica where I grew up as a kid, and we went back and visit. So now you're going to see like there's a bunch of people here who like the post. What I like to do is go back in and see who's interacting with my content that I may have, that could be a good fit for my business, or people that I may have first degree connection with. And then I start a conversation with them. Or the other piece to this too is I go all the way down to the bottom and I look at all the second degree connection who also fit our ideal customer profile, because the content is relative to, folks who are in sales. So now this is where the money started. I got senior academic advisor, customer equipment solutions manager, co-founder, help sales professionals, so forth. So I might find people here who might fit our profile, and I'll send them a connection request. So say if it is going to be Benjamin, I'll hit up Benjamin or Paul and say, hey, Paul or Benjamin, whatever. Saw that you interacted on my post about my, selling mangoes as a kid. Are you a mango fan? But then now that automatically start the conversation, and now I'm getting them going. And just like everything that Mary said, I start the conversation and that leads to appointments. It is all about the convo. Get them saying something at the very beginning, which leads to that conversation. And then even with people who, like, say, for instance, director of channel sales at ADP, so Shuhab, maybe a good connection with me. So I might hit him up, or even Patrick, head of sales. I might hit both of these up and say, Patrick, man, it's been a minute. I saw you like my post about the mango. Are you a mango fan? Or what type of mangoes do you like? Or did you check out my book yet? Or something to kind of start a conversation, since we already broke the ice. And then that leads to something like, hey, man, it's been a minute. Let's jump on a call if they haven't done business with us yet. Love to hear what's going on in your world. 5 to 7 minute conversation. And that's something that's happening right there. So the point is, you got to post content if you want to do this. And you don't have to post often. Once a week. If you post once a month, you're in a whole different echelon. But if you post once a week, it's great. But that's what the strategy that we take advantage of is those first and second degree people. First degree, look at people who are potential, who may be a part of our profile, or maybe like our account, our ABM strategy. If we have folks that are rich, connecting with my content, then we want to obviously engage with them and their companies. But if there are people who are good fit for us, but are not necessarily in my not in a part of my account, my ABM strategy right now, but I can still get them to start a conversation that leads to appointment. So, but this is what our BDRs will do with content. I went rapping for a minute there. Oh, I get too excited for this stuff.
I like it because it brought up a couple questions in the Q&A that I'm going to throw your way, which is, when you're posting content a lot or ever, or you're trying to be better, different people have their profiles set up different ways. And so if I'm a seller, I'm reaching out to somebody, I might not see a connect. I might see a follow. People now have follow. Talk to me about follow versus connect when I go to people's profiles, Donald.
So some of you probably just hit me up and you probably came and followed me. But I still do the both. I still do both. I like to connect with folks, to go ahead and, so I can do some more chatting with them and whatnot. But I like the connect. Follow is relatively easy. However, if you do want to connect with folks and to have that little deeper connection with them, all you got to do, if you go to my profile, I can't even know if I can do it on my own. Let me see if I'm gonna hit up somebody here who just dropped message on me. I can accept the connection request, but usually go to more. And if you go to more, they usually have connect, and that's where you can connect and you go a little bit deeper, to send out a connection request. But that's what I tend to do, or tend to like to do with it, is have them share their do that connection thing. But if somebody does follow me, I like to do similar things as well. Drop them. And I know it sounds like and I'm being straight up with you all. My team helps me out with it because I get a lot of, with our podcast, get a lot of requests, but I do handle my own LinkedIn as well. But my team will jump in and do some of the connection requests. And then we both handle the chat, or say, Donald, sounds like you had a conversation with Mary. You should need to respond to that one, but it allows me to go ahead and get started. So I'm cheating here a little bit, just kind of letting you know, but what it does for, overall, if you're a BDR, you can do the same exact strategy and manage your own. Or if you're doing a full cycle seller, you can do the same exact strategy and manage your own. But the point though is interact with them. And then another piece that I'm going to tell you, this is another straight up easy way to get appointments. If you go to your LinkedIn profile, let me just try to make sure I navigate all the stuff real quick. And you want to come down and see profile views. I see people who looked at my profiles over the past couple of days. I got Thomas here as a third degree 2 minutes ago. So Thomas is probably watching the webinar. I might hit up Thomas and say, hey, Thomas, this is Donald. I saw that you just viewed my profile. I looked at your profile and I'm like, bro, look at that. Looks like somebody that should be known. And that's the type of talk that I use. So it makes it that it's a natural conversation. But I would probably, let's just hit up Thomas and just kind of see something like, Thomas, bro, I see that you're a NASCAR fan. I literally just started I watched something on Bubba Watson, and I'm thinking about jumping into go up to Daytona. Thanks for checking my profile, permission to connect here. But now that's something that we can easily go forward with. You know what I mean? And I just thought about that just right off the cuff. But those people who are viewing your profile, third degree, sales enablement manager. Why am I not friends with Karen? Karen, girl, we're going to be friends. So that's when I should be, connected with, folks, business development executive, I should be connected with, again, our boy Thomas here as well. So these views, send them that message, and doing that personal connection is an awesome way. So just like the follows, if somebody follows you, same idea, be like, hey, call them out. Mary, I saw that you're lurking on my profile. I was lurking at your profile, and now I'm jealous of what you guys are doing at Ambition. Love your recent post. Permission to connect here on LinkedIn. And I always say permission to connect. It's crazy what happens when you ask a question, because we're programmed from kids, in high school, or from elementary school. When people ask you a question, respond to that question. So in the profile, people usually say permission granted, or sure, Donald. It starts the conversation. Conversations then lead to the appointment. Whew, let me stop talking.
All right. Well, we got another question though, that maybe counter take. Let's find out. Someone asked, okay, I heard that LinkedIn invitations without a note have a 10% higher acceptance rate. What do you think? And before I throw it to the expert, I will say that without data 100%, but just as a person who does interact on this platform, I used to accept the ones without the note because it felt like a person who actually wanted to connect versus the I hope you are safe in these times. I am so-and-so. And so it almost felt more human at that point to go with the one that didn't have a note. But now I would be interested in the data on no message versus an actual personalized thing like Donald is describing. But tell us your take on like a message with the connect or no?
So I think what happens is it changed when it first started. LinkedIn was really big on like, if I don't know you, don't talk to me. You got to be my friend. You got to be somebody that I know. Like, no, it's all about, connecting with people. So I think the culture on LinkedIn was that if there's no note, then who are you? I think it was over the past 3 years or so, LinkedIn kind of changed that a little bit, where it really kind of pushed to allow to, right away, where it gives you the option to send a note, where it can send a request, because a lot of people would just they may just accept it. But I'm telling you, for somebody like, if you're an executive, or for instance, if you have a hard time of people not responding to your connection requests, and if you want to see what those might look like, you can go onto LinkedIn and just look at connections and see sent, and you can see how many you still have sent that people are not responded back to, that they haven't responded back. And that's going to give you a good idea to say, well, they're not responding to my generic send one. But if you can send something, and I'm not saying don't send a stupid spam. If you send this, I'm going to not be your friend. But if you send something like, hey, I noticed that we have mutual friends, I would like to connect. That's so dumb. Like, don't do that. That's one of the ones that you get ignored. But if you, and again, it depending on your title, is your title bleeding like, I am going to spam you as soon as you accept this thing? If it's like, we do LinkedIn lead generations for corporations. Like, if I see that, I'm like, no, like, you're not gonna, because I know what's going to happen as soon as I accept your connection request. Or if I'm if you're a financial advisor, I'm no offense against financial advisor, we have a great one and they take care of us and we're happy. But as soon as I get connection requests with a lot of financial advisor, I start getting the automated messages that's saying, hey, Donald, how's your financial stuff? We'd love to talk about risk, and we'd love to give you some, things, and go, set up a time to talk. But so essentially, if you can see that in that connection request, people tend, I guess certain industries tend to have their cultural things, their taboos that people don't like. But I would just say, if go back to this idea of what we shared, if somebody took the time though to write a message like that's going to tie back to you or something that you did, even if you say, Donald, saw you on Sales Hacker today with Mary, you're all right, but Mary was really cool, but I still want to connect with you. I will still accept that connection request. I'm like, you took the time to like connect with me. But if think about the executive, think about your ideal customer, think about those prospects. If there's somebody high in demand, they're going to have a lot of connection requests. What's the likelihood of them accepting somebody without anything versus somebody that's actually speaking towards them? And what's the likelihood of the interaction as a result of that? You know what I mean?
I think that's so smart and true and great. And it makes me want to like sidebar into a whole conversation about titles, but we won't, because some of y'all, I don't know what you do out there with what you're doing with your titles. Someone asked, should I take sales out of my title? And so a friend in the chat responded, no, own what you are, which I love that so much. It reminds me of Lauren Bailey from Factor 8 has a talk right now that she gives called I'm in Sales, Damn It. And you should check her out. Love it so much. So don't take it out of there. And then there were a couple other really great questions around, I know these are very tactical, but we got several. So like curious about time of day to post and how many times to post, if you have any thoughts there.
I don't have any exact data, but one of the things that I've seen that right now, think about this. Why did Sales Hacker choose this time to do the webinar? It's lunchtime. Everyone is probably on their LinkedIn. It's the afternoon time. People tend to be there a little bit more. So my times that I've posted, and I'll tell you, they just happen like this. One is early morning, like it's top of the morning. Top of the morning to you. But top of the morning, I'll do a post. And then maybe like around the lunchtime period, I'll do, I do post as well. And it just so happens that's just the way that it works. And then usually on Fridays, so on Friday, my son and I, we get a haircut. So every other Friday, we post like twice a month, Fresh Cut Friday. We started this in the pandemic. He's 2 and coming to be 3 this year. And just him and I just do that. So it's like a personal family thing. But we post that in the afternoons on Friday, end of the day. But it's crazy how that one still gets a lot of attention and it rides until like the next week. The point is, I don't know if there's an exact perfect time, but those are some of the periods that I've seen based on those reasons. Is morning times, people are on their stuff. Afternoon times, people tend to be, lurking on social media at that time in the office, getting a little bit more lethargic. They need that coffee break. And then obviously like end of day on for us, we've seen that personal one. If you're posting end of the day thing like, hey, we're doing an awesome webinar on Monday, probably not going to get attention. But if it's something that can ride them into the weekend that they can probably, personalize to, I think that makes a better difference for it.
And I know to be a good steward of time management here, there's so many questions, so many great combos.
I know.
Let's do, if it's fine with y'all, can we do 5 minutes on Sales Navigator? People want to know about Sales Navigator. Is it worth the investment? What should I know getting started? And then there's also people who want to do the audit and tear down. So let's roll through Navigator real quick first. What do we need to know?
Yeah. So Navigator, the cool thing is, should you invest in Navigator? Let me tell you this, if you can't master the basics, and LinkedIn, please don't get mad at me for saying this. If you can't master the basics of like LinkedIn, if you're not even posting stuff, if you're not engaging on the platform, then Navigator is kind of like, let me just get some NOS and put it into my car. Even I can't drive a car. Like, in some cases, like if you're if you're a BDR that you're actively using it, if you're somebody that's actively using it, you're, a salesperson actively using LinkedIn. Yeah. Then obviously there's so many different features with LinkedIn Sales Navigator that you could take advantage of, but it just changed up the views of it. And I love it. And big shout out if you guys go to the salesevangelist.com/TSE. You get, go to linkedin.com/TSE, not to promote this, but I'm just telling you, if you guys are using Navigator, they give you 2 months, my audience, 2 months for free. It's typically 1 month for free, but go do that. Shh, don't tell them. They're going to always see all these people from Sales Hacker now, but linkedin.com/TSE and jump in and you'll get 2 months of Navigator for free. So with that, you can go in here and you can see a couple things that you need to take advantage of right away. The new home screen is awesome with Navigator. One of the things that I love about it is the opportunity to build a list of my potential clients and accounts. So it's going a little bit slow here because I've got 10 million windows. But let's say if I have like an account list, like companies that I really want to do some connection with or try to do some outreach to, and here in my area, it shows me, keeps the list really good and keeps me in a and it keeps a good view of them. But this is the part that I love with the new one is the account mapping feature, because we do a lot of account based like marketing type aspects. So I can see who's all in the account and who's all in the organization and people that I should probably connect with in addition to that one individual that I have. That I have connection with. The other beautiful part about this too is the insights and the data that I can get about the organization. That's really, really helpful for me and for the team. So we love to see companies that are growing, and especially organizations that have new hires, because those people tend to want to get training for their new sellers, their BDRs. So they'd be great for our program. So these are some things that we like to look at. Again, also the new hires within this company, see that their trends and their insights. Open jobs. So again, for our team, is there anything in business development? Yes. It kind of went down a little bit there for the business development, but we can see different roles that we can then reach out to them based on with their employee counts and so forth. The other beautiful thing that I love about Sales Navigator is the actual, like you can create the leads list for those individuals. In the individuals that you want to work with, you can have different. This is just a newer feature with it. Yeah, and I can listen. Come on, Apollo, stop. Just put the integration on there. But this part is really, really good. So if I have a leads list, I maybe have 30 accounts that I'm trying to break into, and I can go and see, well, off those accounts, how many people have posted on LinkedIn in the past 30 days? Let me show me those people first, and I can go and check with them. Or leads that follow your company on LinkedIn. So these are people that are my leads, but they also follow my company. Bro, I need to make sure, I need to talk to these individuals. I can reach out to them and schedule those appointments. So instead of me trying to boil the ocean, I'm focusing my time now when I get on LinkedIn in the morning. These are, when I'm going to spend 30 minutes and try to get some appointments. Here are some people I should make sure I reach out, connect with. Joe, I make sure to connect with Dominic, and I make sure I can connect with Andrew. And then also people who have posted. So these are, again, remember, a small percentage of people actually post content on LinkedIn. So if I want to go back here and I want to go see what John posted recently on LinkedIn, on LinkedIn, I can find out what John did and then go interact with him, because it shows that he is an active user of the platform. So anyways, go ahead and pull him up. I can see some of the things that he's doing, but LinkedIn Sales Navigator is just, instead of me trying to boil the ocean, is focusing me on the right people to go ahead and connect with. And I know I've been talking a lot there, but yeah, anywho, but I might interact with them.
Yeah, I won't be redundant, but I'll say on our side too, those were the top 3 tips, is like the CRM integration side, because we also account based. So like it's easy to see the accounts you own, and then you can filter and spotlight on a number of different things, job changes or people who do follow your brand. It's a lot easier to build rapport and connection with someone who already knows what you do. So just exactly what Donald said. And then I know that was a perfect time. So I think it's time to do a little LinkedIn audit. So there's a link in the chat Donald, if you want to share your screen.
Let me know if you guys need anything, but just sneaking in here, guys, this is an actual LinkedIn page from one of our audience members who sent this in. So this is real. This is not staged. This is not a demo. So please give him a little bit of love. If you want me to put if you guys need the link, just let me know.
Yeah, go ahead and drop that link.
Drop that link.
It's coming to you guys. Donald. I lost it.
Is it the, no, that's Sales Navigator.
That's a Sales Navigator. My bad.
You're all good.
Got the wrong thing on my copy.
I got it here. I just reshared it, I think.
So here we go.
Yep.
All right. So let's go ahead and tackle this here.
And guys, this is real. I'm serious, dead serious. This is all totally real. Real person. It's not fake. It's not a demo.
So first off, I like the background. You know, a lot of people still don't have their background, but I like that. Supercharge your bulk email, SMS, and voice broadcasting with intelligent automated software. Okay, so I get an idea what they're doing. It's good. Anything from you, Mary, from the top part?
On the banner, one thing that I have gotten a ton of love on is all the G2 badges. If you're a software company and you use your G2 badges, ours is funny. It says we're going to need a bigger banner.
I love that one. Yeah.
But that's a great place to not only say what you do, but also show off how well you do it. So also like that it's clear. We know what you do, where you work.
Yeah. Picture is good as well. What I like to then do is jump down to like the about. And the feedback, I mean, right away, I see some of the stuff that I would give, but you want to go ahead, Mary, share any thoughts?
I personally, I like to make mine a little bit human about stuff I do outside of work too. So that's the main thing I notice for me that jumps out.
Yeah. And one of the things with that too is like it, starts off, I'm a tenacious, result driven. Like LinkedIn, it's not so much the land. If you're out of college trying to land your first gig, then maybe a different route. But we're not trying to, you're not trying to sell yourself for your next company. But in this case, maybe talk about the problems you solve with this. So supercharge your bulk email, even if it start off with something funny or something towards that, like saying, bulk email, like, or whatever. I'm just trying to make it up. Like, did you know that 57, the average person get 156 emails per day? Like, and 90% of them from salespeople. I mean, but it's just like, having fun starting off, and then you can go into like, what we do and how we solve that problem for folks in this way and blah, blah, blah. But I would make that about the individuals that you serve and the problems you solve for them. You can talk about your services, but your services should gear towards how you help them per se, not necessarily about you as in, me and my drive and goals.
I do love the clear title here. I tell you, sometimes I truly do be like, what do you do here? Some of the titles, but I love it. It's a business development executive. That's great. A lot of times I tend to give, because of what we do and probably what Donald does too, I'm never going to be the person who blasts someone's outreach on my LinkedIn and talks about people spamming and how everyone needs to get a life. I'm inclined to help people in the role of business development. It's very hard. It's a hard job. It's a meaningful job. So I do love the clarity in the title there.
And then, just like different roles here, different things that they've done. I would say I love the idea here, making it about, not necessarily like just about you, it's more, make it that it's describing how you solve problems for them based on your role. Again, same idea here, where it's about the client, but this part specifically is about how I help the company or results that I drove for the company. So folks can see how how you bring value. One thing I like to do, go ahead, Mary.
No, you go ahead, because I was going to say, should we jump to activity and see how often?
Yes, that's exactly where I was looking for. I was trying to get to. So go over here and let's do back to specific. I want to see all of the activities. So this is showing, there we go, show all activities. And bam, let's see this. Survey says, all right, 5 hours ago. I like it. So using hashtags, money in a bank. Read more of the blog in a bio. I like that too. And this one is a silly, people probably already know, but if you post a link in the thing, oftentimes it tends to be a little bit more challenging. If you know how LinkedIn make money in these platforms, through their, it's not necessarily through us buying this. They make money through their ads, really, right? So if this is a case, if you're putting an ad and they're pulling them, that's why when you click on an ad, sometimes, the post, it says you're leaving LinkedIn. Do you want to do that? Because they're trying to keep you on a platform. So, let's not fool the algorithm. Put the blog, the bio thing in the bio, which definitely does help with that. But yeah, anyway, she's posting, which is good. I mean, we can go deeper into other stuff. We don't have time, but I think that's a good part. How about you, Mary?
Yeah, I was expecting to see it, maybe not posting there, but I think everyone joining us on this call today is probably a little bit more interested than the average person. So like Donald mentioned earlier, this may be the 2%, which is smart. You're in good company because it's an underutilized platform. And again, just shout out to everyone who's testing things. You can do your own A/B testing at time of day, number of posts. One thing that Caitlin's testing on our side is using GIFs in the message. Yeah. People still love a GIF. So give that a test and see if you get a higher response rate. I know we're at time, Tess. Don't let us get in trouble.
Can I do one last piece before we go for a wrap up real quick though? Take advantage of LinkedIn articles too. You can post an article. This is like more, you can even do like this, tease it out in a post, like and make the post doesn't have to all be about the company, about your product. Just post something, get a picture of you doing like how she had a natural picture here, something else, but just get there's a human behind the business development rep, etc. post. Like maybe you picture of you doing a hike in a weekend and say, I tackled that challenge, and then explain, I tackled that challenge, blah blah blah, tie it back to the role or to business in general. What are some and then ask a question. What are some challenges you tackled this weekend? Because it breaks up the monotony, as you see here, with a personal post and not like a stock photo type thing. And you could talk about the problem. We break up, we tackle one of the biggest mountains that people have is, their emails or SMS messaging. We teach them better ways how to do that, blah, 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 blah. Get them to interact with the comments, the chat in the comments, get them to engage by prompting them to respond in the chat. And we didn't get involved in polls. I mean, there's so many things. If you want to connect with me and Mary, we could talk to you more about some of these things, but
absolutely. Well, thank you guys. Oh my gosh, guys, we could have been doing this for, I think maybe 3 or 4 more hours. The chat is still going. The questions and answers are still coming in. We're going to do our best to get everything answered as asynchronously as possible. So don't worry. Some of these questions you guys have, we'll do our best to get those answered and get some information and insights out to you guys if you didn't get your question answered in time. Apologies that we went over by 1 or 2 minutes, but a big thank you to Mary and Donald. The insight was fantastic. And thank you, of course, to our beautiful, amazing audience. The chat was going off all the time. I loved seeing the hype. I love seeing the engagement. You guys, this is what Sales Hacker is all about. This event is going to be recorded. So if you had to pop off a little bit earlier, kids screaming in the background, dog needs to go out, it's lunchtime, whatever it is, don't worry, we got you. That recording is going to come to you guys in the next couple of days. Thank you again. We had such a great time and we hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, talk to y'all soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.